Welcome to the Day 2 of Angular Masterclass series. This video covers modern control flow with @defer, @for, and @if, the composition API, and best practices for V17 Plus and V18 standards. Here's the agenda for our masterclass. We will start with data binding and template features, move on to core directives, and then dive deep into modern control flow, including the powerful @defer block and the composition API. Section 1 focuses on templates and data binding, which is essential for bridging the gap between your TypeScript logic and the actual HTML rendering. Data binding fundamentals include interpolation, which embeds dynamic string values using double curly braces, and property binding, which sets an element's property using square brackets. We also cover interactive binding mechanisms, such as event binding using parentheses to listen for DOM events, and pseudo events with key modifiers for cleaner event filtering. Finally, two-way binding synchronizes state between the view and the model using the "banana-in-a-box" syntax. Next, we explore advanced template features. Safe navigation guards against undefined paths, nullish coalescing provides fallback default values, and template variables create local references within the template. Virtual elements like ng container are logical groupings without adding DOM nodes. ng template defines a reusable block of HTML that is not rendered by default. An ng template outlet is a directive to dynamically inject an ng template. Section 2 focuses on the directive ecosystem. We differentiate between attribute directives, which change the look or behavior of an element, and structural directives, which modify the layout by adding or removing elements from the DOM. Directive categories are mainly divided into attribute directives, which alter appearance, and structural directives, which reshape the DOM structure. The legacy structural directives use an asterisk prefix. Section 3 introduces modern control flow in Angular 17 Plus. This highly optimized block syntax replaces structural directives, providing cleaner and more performant conditional logic with @if, list rendering with @for, and handling multiple cases with @switch. The modern control flow syntax offers significant advantages over legacy structural directives, including native implementation in the template compiler and excellent TypeScript type inference support, moving away from Zone.js dependency. Here are examples of modern syntax. @if and @switch blocks simplify conditional logic. The @for block includes built-in empty states and mandatory tracking for better performance. Section 4 is a deep dive into the @defer block, focusing on surgical lazy loading at the component level to boost application performance. Surgical lazy loading with @defer moves lazy loading from the route level to the template level. This enables modular bundling, dynamic imports, and massive performance gains, improving core web vitals. The anatomy of @defer includes optional blocks. @placeholder content is shown before loading starts. @loading content is shown while dependencies are being fetched, and @error provides a fallback if loading fails. The @defer block is activated by various trigger mechanisms. Idle loads when the main thread is free, viewport loads when the element is visible, and interaction or hover are used for user-triggered loading. The timer can delay secondary content. The @for block increases list rendering speed by up to 90% compared to legacy *ng-for. @defer also enables prefetching, decoupling data fetching from rendering, which can significantly improve perceived loading speed. Section 5 is about the Custom Directives API, focusing on building reusable, enterprise-scale UI behaviors. The Directive Composition API, introduced in Angular 15, allows components to inherit functionality from standalone directives using the host directives array. This favors composition, enables clean templates, and provides better API control. Key production best practices include adopting standalone components first, using the on-push change detection strategy with signals, employing renderer2 for safe DOM manipulation, and, importantly, avoiding deep nesting of @defer blocks to prevent cascading loading delays. Thank you for attending the masterclass. You can find documentation on angular.dev and the GitHub repository @/Angular.